I struggled with smoking pretty much from the very beginning. It's hard to have an addiction. It takes over your mind. It's just destroys your peace. Pretty soon, maybe just a couple years after starting smoking, I was ready to stop. I wanted to stop. I guess I wasn't ready, but I wanted to. Every single time I bought a pack of cigarettes, it would always be my last pack in my mind. But then once I ran out, I would ultimately end up going and buying more. What finally motivated me to stop smoking for good was being introduced to spiritual concepts because I had been caught in a cycle of negative self talk and isolation. The first time that I heard that I had a soul, I was just completely blown away with it.
Jessi is a wife, a mother, has a college education in geology, geography, and early childhood education. And she's also an author.
And so just started telling myself, I love myself and I'm going to treat myself like the people I love.
So I want to talk a little bit about your method and how different that is from traditional smoking cessation programs that are offered out there. And why do you think yours is a very effective method?
How my method differs is that I really want to help people understand themselves and who they are and what they need and what they're missing.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's conversation. You may have been watching the podcast videos but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have ever gained value from our videos, from our conversations, it would mean so much to us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now, or even just give us a like. And what that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it allows us to bring in more important guests for you to listen to. And you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's conversation.
Welcome to Pathways to Wellbeing. I'm Jo Irwin and I'm from the Sacred You community. And with me today, I have the pleasure of talking to Jessi Hartnett. Hartnett, is that right? Yeah, Hartnett. And Jessi is a wife, a mother who loves to spend her time in the kitchen and outdoors. She has a college education in geology, geography, and early childhood education. And she's also an author, and I'm excited about our topic today because it's all around using your heart to quit smoking and change the world, which is absolutely beautiful. And I know that Jessi you've shared that you've lived with the addiction of smoking the majority of your life. And yeah, you found tools to navigate that at an early age, which is fantastic. And you're here to help others to help them, but also guide them in changing or avoiding the addiction at least. And that you've so gratefully and happily have quit. You chose to do that through a very interesting method, which I'm excited to hear more about. And yeah, so you've written a book called Honor Your Heart, which addresses the emotional aspects of ending the habit. So let's dive in. I have a few questions actually that I'm excited to hear from you about this method that you use and excited for you to share your journey and story with the world. So first of all, I wanted to ask you about what motivated you to finally address this smoking addiction after so many years.
I'm really excited to be here and to share the knowledge that I've received and a little bit of my story. And I struggled with smoking pretty much from the very beginning. It's hard to have an addiction. It takes over your mind. It's just destroys your peace. You're constantly thinking about it. Pretty soon, maybe just a couple years after starting smoking, I was ready to stop. I wanted to stop. I guess I wasn't ready, but I wanted to. And so I always was trying to stop. Every single time I bought a pack of cigarettes, it would always be my last pack in my mind. But then once I ran out, I would ultimately end up going and buying more. And things got worse with my health wise. I really had a lot of trouble with my mouth and my energy. I was very dizzy all the time. And I was having surgeries on my mouth and still was smoking through that. I guess it's like a long story, but what finally motivated me to stop smoking for good was being introduced to spiritual concepts because I had been caught in a cycle of negative self talk and isolation through misunderstanding or having a perspective on the world where it felt like everything was disconnected. I was really into science and had gone down that road and pretty much felt like if you can't see it, you can't measure it, it's not real. And fell into this like nihilist perspective where we're in a random universe and everything is survival of the fittest and competitive and not really has a lot of meaning. Like I didn't feel like I had meaning in my life and I didn't have any purpose other than, working hard and paying bills and being successful in that way. So when I was introduced to spiritual concepts, I was able to start to question those beliefs. The first time that I heard that I had a soul, I was just completely blown away with it. I mean, I had grown up with some religion in the background, but it didn't really resonate for me. But coming into adulthood and understanding this kind of ancient mythic perspective on the human condition and our ability to bring gifts into the world and to heal our wounds is really what got me excited. Again,
And where did you first hear it? Where were you first introduced to that concept?
Yeah, I heard a man on the radio talking about linguistics and breaking down the history of words, and he was speaking locally, and I was like, oh, this sounds like a cool academic lecture. I'll go see this. And that was not an academic lecture at all. It was gathering a communion ritual where we sang together, we listened to stories, we all shared our own perspectives on these myths that he was telling. He had music, he played drums. It was pretty out there for me, and I loved every minute of it and got hooked right away. So I am so thankful that I went there. It felt like it was, divine guidance brought me to that moment.
I was going to say that is
Yeah.
such a great example of being guided to where you need to be, right time, right place. Even just listening, hearing that on the radio, huh? That's beautiful. Ah, excellent. And so your addiction was about, you said 15 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So did you start at a young age?
Definitely. I feel like that was a huge part of why I fell in so hard, and many people do start young. And looking back, I can see that I was looking for a sense of community and belonging and trying to find out what my identity was at that time. And so it makes sense to me that a lot of people do that because it's like an initiation. I was
Yeah.
trying to move out of childhood into something. And I'd grown up around smoking. All the adults that I knew were smoking and partying. And so I thought that was a way to become an adult. And it was blessed too by the adults. So it felt like it was like my
It was
entry.
okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I so relate to that because I too was one of those wanting to belong in a group in school. And at 15, we'd be smoking in the schoolyard under the tree. Like, how brave is that? And it was almost like it was accepted. It wasn't hidden, right? And it's just that, yeah, what we're surrounded by, the environment, the people, but also wanting to belong to something. And I so get that. It I guess I reckon it'd be half the population. So thank you for sharing that because it's really important that we understand that when it's nothing is forever and there's always opportunity to change. But can you describe with when you decided to quit that one last time? Do you remember that moment of that time and what was the emotions that you'd identified that or attachments that you noticed that were tied to the smoking?
So I tried to quit almost 100 times. I kept trying and trying, and I was using my mind to try to rationalize my way out and looking at a very like kind of cold clinical way, like this is going to cause cancer and the numbers are bad here and this isn't a very smart decision. And I should be smarter and not smoke and going that way. But then I would find myself caught in the mind again where I would make up excuses like, oh, I'll only smoke when I drink. And then I end up drinking more. I always find some kind of loophole, some little way that makes sense in my mind. And so once I became introduced into more mindful practice and being quiet, and I was able to hone more in on what was going on with the thoughts. And because it took me so many times, I started really paying attention to when I would go back, when I would give up on stopping and go back and buy more cigarettes. And it was always a really strong feeling of being overwhelmed. And I'm like, what am I overwhelmed by? And it was stress, loneliness, depression, frustration, self-hatred, like all these like really strong negative emotions, if you will, but really what they were emotions that I was avoiding. And so I would use the cigarette to avoid facing these emotions, to stuff them down inside myself and just delay dealing with that. And it's really unhealthy.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
yeah.
Yeah. But
I
also,
started,
you
go
go.
ahead.
No, I was just saying, and it's so common. If it's not smoking, it's something else. It
Right.
can be something else. Even shopping, addictions to alcohol, whatever. Social media.
Mhm.
Like are there ways of pushing down those emotions that are trying to tell us something, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I can still find myself doing it now. Whenever it's like I go to a distraction, and then I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I know myself now enough, but it took me a long time to realize that my beliefs I had are changeable, and that because I just took it for granted, like this is the way I've seen the world, this is truth, this is real, this is all there is, and then I realized like, no, this is just a construct. These are beliefs that I've taken on. A lot of them aren't even my own.
yeah.
And I can change these beliefs and create something that is more aligned with my happiness and my fulfillment and my peace. And
Mm.
so I started to work on that too, because I had just put so much faith in the smoking that it was going to like solve all these problems. Like I said, like this, somehow smoking a cigarette will make me feel less lonely, which is silly. You
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
need to
but
smoke to have friends. Yeah,
yeah, just for the mind, it's logical, right? Because
yeah.
it's how it works, how it operates to keep you stuck in those
Hmm.
patterns of even the addiction of the emotional trauma that's going on inside. It's blocking you from addressing that. So I just want to, I just want to say congratulations to you for actually recognizing these things and being aware. Now coming to that point of awareness where you can, okay, see the patterns. And that's a really interesting way, isn't it, to have that self-awareness to identify what's underneath, what's driving that addiction to whatever that may be. And yeah, I just want to honor you for that. And also, I wanted to ask you about you tapped into the emotions, but what do you think, what role does self-love play in overcoming these addictions, and we, how can others cultivate that in their life?
So when I was trying to stop smoking and being successful, like I said, it was these emotions too, but then there was also this negative thought loop that would go on where I would talk myself down and tell myself that I was weak and that I can't do this and that I'm not worth it and this is as good as it gets, this is all I deserve, like those kind of thoughts. And
Mm,
so to change those beliefs, I started talking to myself with kindness
mm,
and cheering myself on. And it felt very strange to admit that I loved myself. That I was just like, it was very upsetting actually. I just was like, no, no way, I don't deserve that, and pushed it away. But then I was like, no, there's something really going on here because I was in a meditation where someone was leading it, and it was a love meditation. And it's okay, send love to someone that's easy to love, and then
mm,
send someone to love to someone that's difficult you don't agree with, but send them love, and then send love to yourself. And when we got to that last part, I was just like in shambles, like crying. I was like, this is a big deal here. This is where I need to go. And so just started telling myself I love myself and try to treat myself with that respect that I would. It helped to have someone in my life that I love very much. And I use that as a model for how I could love myself. I'm like, I don't treat other people the way I treat myself. I'm going to treat myself like the people I love. And so that's where I started. And
Oh,
then it just became very natural to not want to hurt myself anymore.
yes. Isn't that beautiful? And over time, it just rewired those neural pathways to accept that self-love and self-acceptance of that. And I know that's not easy. But gently, I just love you just shared a beautiful process with people to practice to start sending love to those that you really do love. And then gently breaking down those barriers to connecting with your own self-love. So thank you for sharing that. What a gorgeous practice. And because the thoughts can really take over, they can spiral, can't they? I call it like, I just go into these things of spiraling down. But when you recognize those patterns in that moment, you can change it, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
You really get stuck in those cycles. And you said acceptance. So I feel like acceptance was a huge part of it too, because I was trying to avoid all those feelings, those unwanted feelings. And accepting them was a huge part of moving forward to embrace them and understand that's what makes a person whole is to have sadness, to have anger. These aren't bad things. There's not good feelings and bad feelings. They're
just
wide
feeling.
spectrum. Yeah. And it's normal. And I know that I realize that so much more now having a daughter because babies come out and they are angry, they are sad. It is completely natural to have these feelings. But somewhere along the lines, I learned that I wouldn't gain acceptance or love if I expressed them. And so I think that's learning to accept them and embrace them and has been so much easier for me now just to move on from them instead of getting them stuck and getting obsessed, like you said, in those thought patterns over and over and over again. It's easier to
Yeah.
let go.
Yeah. But it's a practice, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Every
practice.
day. Every
Yeah.
day.
Every day, even now. And yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Exactly. And now to have a child that you can pass this wisdom on to and support them in their own emotions. It's okay to cry. It's okay to scream. It's okay to have do what you need to do.
And it's
And
so temporary.
it's temporary. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful that, yeah, you have now got this gift to pass down. And so I want to talk a little bit about your method and how different that is from traditional smoking cessation programs that are offered out there. And why do you think yours is a very effective method? Because this is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So I always got this guilt and shame from the medical establishment, from the doctors, from the dentist. They would always make me feel like, come on, just do the right thing. This is so bad for you. What are you doing? You're foolish. This is a bad idea. One doctor even went so far to tell me I was at the bottom of the social total pool. It's not very motivating. It doesn't come from a place of love and sincerity. And it's all based on numbers and facts. And it's, oh, so you're going to get cancer in some future timeline. It just felt really irrelevant to me. Obviously, I realized that tobacco marketing has a big, extensive history, but when I started smoking, I was well aware of how dangerous it was and had decided to start anyway. So that kind of thinking didn't stop me from starting. It wasn't going to help me stop smoking. It didn't feel relevant. I was having such negative thoughts that I really didn't care if I lived or died. It wasn't motivating in any way to me to think about, oh, I want to live till I'm 80. And then they would always focus on the smoking itself as the problem and not go to the root of the problem, which
Yeah.
probably isn't the place for a doctor. It is spiritual work. So that's how my method differs is that I really want to help people understand themselves and who they are and what they need and what they're missing that is driving them to smoke, why they're turning to smoking to try to fulfill those needs and open themselves to possibilities of finding other ways to meet those needs and ways that are more sustainable and align with our purpose and our gifts that we bring to the world. And part of that is finding the authentic you, which is hard because we take on
It
so
is,
much.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, and
peeling back the layers, isn't it? Really,
yeah.
there's because we've been covered in so much stuff. But I just want to say to you about what the medical profession were doing was we're really feeding your shame and guilt so
Yes,
that you
yes.
would feel more of that rather than the opposite of being loving and kind and maybe suggesting some alternative methods. I don't know, but that's very rare in that industry, isn't it? But yeah, I just, it wasn't doing any favors is what I was, wanting to say to you. And yeah, so I feel, man, it is a spiritual journey. It is a spiritual journey. And yeah, what was something else you were going to say there about that?
Just that you can find your inner strength and power again. And that's part of it, is recognizing that you have choice and that you can choose a life that's better for you, or a different way of seeing things that just allows you to have more joy. Because I had based my whole life around external validation, and that's what was causing me to be so miserable, to have those unwanted feelings over and over again. And like I said, I was hanging on to them, but I felt like I couldn't be who I really was. And once I realized like that only I'm making my own cage. There is no one that's making me do this, and I can choose what I want to do. That's when I was able to be free and live authentically, and I didn't want to smoke anymore.
Do you remember that pivotal moment when you made that decision? Was there anything that...
So the quitting, it can come before or after or during all this inner work. So I had actually quit for a couple of months and was trying new things, trying meditation, trying yoga. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. People talk about meditation like I don't know, because I'm from the Midwest, and it's just not really a common thing out there. And so I thought it was very strange at first, and that I thought that people just sat cross-legged and start levitating. It's just like this very Zen thing where everything is feel good. And that was not my experience at all. Like I went through hell in meditation. Like I dug up a lot of dark things that I didn't want to think about. That's what I was always doing, was trying to keep myself distracted. So once I became aware of that and was able to come into that self-love, I knew that I could live a better life and get out of addiction for good.
Yeah, wow. Choice, right?
Yeah.
Choice. And when you go experience this, it gives you a taste, right, of what's possible. Yeah. What's possible if I try this and I try that? So I guess you were doing all the things until you found what worked for you. Because I don't believe there's one way for all.
Yeah,
And
we all have our unique wounds and our unique gifts.
100%. And what you were doing was uncovering the wounds and being brave enough, right, to even go there. Some people never go there. They live a life in that pain and trauma. So the fact that you were going there takes a lot of courage, to be honest. And I know I've done a lot of inner work, and I can feel the pain that we all carry inside of us, but we have to be willing to open that box of Pandora's box and even just have a little look, if that's the first step, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so worth it though, because you can't find the inner light, the inner gold, the real genuine joy in life without going through the dark
The
night of the
pain.
soul. Yeah.
Yeah. Dark night of the soul, did you say?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like, isn't it? And often it's never ending, isn't it? Because sometimes we don't even see what's hiding in the shadows for a long.
It can be easy to ignore. That's what my culture is always like proposing. It's keep busy, just keep buying, just
Keep
get stuck in
doing.
this kind of the hamster wheel or that kind of thing. Just
Yeah.
don't pay too much attention. So
100%.
when you stop and pay attention, it can be really hard. And I think that's part of what makes it so hard to quit smoking, is because you become so reliant on smoking to cope emotionally. And when you have that taken away, it's completely overwhelming.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Again, congratulations to you. That's just beautiful what you've overcome. So how can women struggling with low self-esteem and addiction begin to reconnect with their heart? Because that's the way you go in, right? You want to share a little bit about that for me, please?
I was just talking about how busy and loud modern world is, and it can be very easy to get overwhelmed. And there's so much information out there, and everyone has conflicting opinions that it can be really hard to know what to do. And you feel like you're just on strings and just trying things, and you don't have that confidence. And I have found that the heart, it has a different kind of knowledge than just taking in information and analyzing it, and it's intuition. And it's
Mhm.
been such a gift for me to tap into this intuition because it can guide you in the direction you need to go.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's the direction you don't want to go in, but it's the direction that's going to serve you and help you grow and transform into a better life. And so I'm so thankful for intuition. It's really difficult to describe. I'm struggling so much to describe it to people, but it's just a feeling of what's right. And if you pay attention, you just so slow down at the very little, you can start to notice it right away. There's so many messages from your body to stop smoking, and we ignore them. We push through because our mind rationalizes it or tells us, I don't know if to call it lies, but we get stuck in these beliefs and that's all we see. We're like, oh, smoking relieves stress. And that doesn't make any sense. It's a stimulant. Your breathing is shallow and your heart's racing, your hormones are surging. It's not relaxing. But if you believe that, you will keep reaching for it every time you want to relax. And so the heart can tell you that something's wrong here. I mean, that people feel it. That's why they want to quit smoking to begin with. They feel that pull from their heart telling them that they could to take care of themselves and that it's always aligned with our highest good, what's good for us, rather than what we want for instant gratification, or it's got like that like long-term sight that knows what we're meant to do in this life and what we came here with purpose. And like I said, the medicine to our wounds and the gifts we can share, because we all come in with gifts. There's no worth that needs to be earned because our heart carries that inner gold. We have wealth within us.
Wow, that's just so beautiful. And I felt that deeply. And through the heart, you access your intuition, and that's a practice in itself. So, heart, mind, body connection is what I'm hearing from you. And if we can start there, like gently connecting into our heart as a practice to connect to your inner guidance, is that what you're essentially doing in your practice or over the time that you've been practicing?
Yeah, I think the heart is the source of the intuition. It has its own knowledge. It's like a brain in itself almost.
Yeah.
And so it's a different kind of way of living. And we need our mind as a tool, but it's not who we are. And our heart is who we are. It's the essence of our
Mm.
soul.
Oh, I love that. I love that
Yeah.
so much. Oh my goodness. My goodness, let's all breathe that in. That is just so beautiful and profound. And if that was one thing you got from today's session with Jessi, that would be amazing, because just connecting with your heart is a practice that we can all do easily. And of course, breathe.
Mhm.
Yeah. So is that as a tool, what practices do you stay committed to in your transformation and staying in, like staying with on the journey of a non-smoker, so to speak?
Yeah. I have several. It's changed a lot since I've had a baby because I don't have this dedicated time
Yeah.
anymore. So I have to do really short, quick things and I have to do them in the moment. And so gratitude is a huge thing for me. I make sure to always start and end the day in gratitude. And another one is just like quieting just for a moment. Like I said, I don't get these big blocks of meditation anymore, but if I find myself getting like very riled up or losing control, then I'll just center into my heart. I'll just put my hand on my heart, slow down my breathing, and
Mm.
then normally say an affirmation. Affirmations are huge. I use them all the time to calm myself and bring me back to myself. So just saying that, oh, I know I can handle this, or everything will be okay. Those kind of things reassure me and keep me level-headed when I get off the handle a little bit. Or
Yeah.
being a mom.
I
You
was going
know,
to say, it's a whole new experience when you're a mum. I've had 4 children, so I know what you're talking
oh
about.
wow,
But
okay.
and a single mum, but it's a whole new
Wow.
world. It's your world, and now I'm a grandma, and have helped with that process over the years. And I was thinking about this morning, it's totally about being present with them, right? So
Yes.
that act of selflessness, but then having to also, feed your own soul, your own self, so that you can be that better version. But recognizing, I love what you said there about recognizing when you are or getting riled up or whatever that may, or getting pulled, or coming back into the heart, hand on heart, and asking those power, or incanting those suggestions. What can I do in this moment? Or just a breath, right? So simple, finding, and you find those things, don't you? As a mum, you have to find those quick and easy tools to focus on. Yeah, yeah. So I want to know what impact did quitting smoking have on the other areas of your life, like your relationships with others? Because I know that when you're in that world, usually you're surrounded by people who are smokers as well. But also, you mentioned earlier you grew up in an environment like I did, of parents smoking or relatives smoking. It was just a thing, wasn't it? Everyone was just, you don't see it as much anymore. But how did that impact once you became a non-smoker in your relationships and your personal growth? And because that's a big thing, like your identity changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's radical transformation. Like I feel like a new person, like I was born. Like I
Yeah,
died and was
reborn.
reborn. Yeah.
Hi. I love that.
And I have needed this for so long. I was looking for that initiation, and I felt like I got it, or at least started it with quitting smoking, that I was really becoming an adult and who I wanted to be. And like I said, having a baby was full on initiation there. Yeah, and everyone around me has just seen me shine. They're just like, wow, you're so much more confident. That's the biggest gain to quitting smoking that I didn't expect at all, is that
Yeah.
I have so much more confidence. I know who I am. I have resilience and don't feel afraid of challenges as much anymore. I actually enjoy them. And yeah, the identity thing, the smoker identity, I think that was easy to let go of because I realized that's not who I was at all. That's just a behavior. And I was learning to accept all the parts of myself too. So it's just getting to know who I really am and enjoy myself. And yeah, it's just only been good things, really.
Yeah, that's fantastic, because some people experience having to let go of some of those circles or relationships as a result of the people not accepting that you're changed. And
Yeah, some relationships did go by the wayside, but it brought out the authenticity of the relationships. If it was just based around smoking, then it wasn't really a relationship to begin with. And the friends that continue to smoke and I have connections with, that wasn't the basis of the connection at all.
yeah,
The smoking had nothing to do with it. We can still be friends. I don't have cravings. I don't particularly like to hang around smoke anymore. I can't believe I'm one of those people now. It's, oh, it gives me a headache. But
yeah,
I
I
don't,
know
it
that
doesn't
you
bother me
smell
like I
it.
want it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
and you
I
go,
don't want
ugh.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I,
great. That's great.
yeah. And I don't mind hanging out with people that's what they're doing still. It's all about personal choice too. I never try to
Mhm.
convince anyone that they should quit. It's I'm just making information available when they want to and they're interested in doing that because
Yeah,
it's so
absolutely.
personal. It's no one can do it for you. No one can make you. No one can convince you. It has to be you. With any
Already.
addiction, really, like you were talking about, it's you can go to rehab and they keep you locked up but when you get out you can still go and get it if you want it. So there's always going to be a corner store with cigarettes in the window if you
Yeah,
have to learn to actually want to walk past and
yeah.
find
Be
something better
ready
for
to.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be ready to as well, isn't it? Get to do the work, the inner work. You
Yes.
know, the self work. And I love this conversation. It's such an important one, because it all basically just comes back to finding you again, right?
Yes.
Finding the authentic you that was always there, but it was just covered over with all the crap and conditioning and stories that we tell ourselves that are not true. What would you
Yes.
say to somebody who feels like they've failed after multiple attempts of quitting smoking, wanting to quit? What would you say to those people that were
Well, I
listening
think
to
you
this?
You just nailed it when you mentioned the story. It's just changed the story.
Uh-huh.
And to not see all those failures as a waste, because, like I said, it took me several times to stop. And every time I started to pay attention, I learned more and more. It got to the point that I knew exactly how it would feel to go back, the disappointment I would have. Because I started experimenting, if you will. Like I said, I had a background in science. So I'm like, okay, I'll see if I'm dying to have a smoke because I think it's going to relieve my stress. And so let me see if it does. And then you smoke, you get that good feeling for about 30 seconds, and then you're right back to where you were. And so it's, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You like every time you go back, you can learn more about this habit and see what gains you think you get and if you actually get those delivered. And you can just take it farther and farther, because there was times I was going days without, weeks without, months without. And so when I finally did quit smoking, I was very confident at that point that I could do it, because I had figured out what brought me back to smoking and had started developing ways to meet the needs in a way that actually worked.
I
And
love that.
so,
I love
yeah,
that. You met the needs in healthier ways of being. Is that what I'm hearing?
partly, but it's just that realizing that the cigarettes didn't ever meet the need.
That's
It was
right.
all just a false belief. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's almost like, yeah, I came home. I landed into that knowing that all this and all of it had a purpose also, didn't it? If
yes.
you hadn't have been a smoker like myself, I probably never would have gone down the inner work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have any shame in it at all. I'm actually grateful for the whole experience, because I had a lot of regret when I first quit. I was just like, man, I wasted all this time. What a waste of potential and money and my health. I have all these side effects now. I have rosacea and gum disease and these things I have to continue to live with because of the choices I made. But I wouldn't be who I am and where I am if I hadn't gone down that path. And actually love my life right now and where I've come to. So I am grateful for the journey. And I feel that you have to have a spiritual crisis to transform, to grow, and it's just part of the process. And
Oh,
I'm,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, my grandson has a saying when we're playing games, and he doesn't win, right? What is it? He goes, either win or you learn. And I'm like, wow.
oh, that's cute.
He's like 6 years old,
Very
like,
wise.
wow. I'm like, yeah, wiser than us sometimes. Like, oh, it is so true. Everything is a learning, and having those experiences was profound, because look where you are now and all the other byproduct of that experience you can change as well.
Right.
Yeah, because you've changed one thing, you can change anything.
I think we're meant to throughout our life too. We're supposed to go through different phases and change as people. I hope to go through another change and become a
100%.
crone.
Become a beautiful. And this book you've written now is to support other people to go on that journey. So I just had one last question about your journey, actually. And what
Sure.
was that? What was the most surprising thing that you learned? Talking about the learnings, what was the most surprising thing you learned about yourself during that journey of quitting smoking? Because that's a real, some people never do it. Yeah.
Just to have imagination and creativity. I lost connection with that. That's another gift from the heart. And that's how I came into writing the book, even, is I had put that part of myself away because it wasn't going to make me money or success or approval. And I was on the science route and I was going to go that way. And I completely lost touch with just having fun and having joy and creating. So that was a surprise, because I had to visualize and create my whole way of being.
Yeah.
Because I
The
changed,
future you.
yeah, change the
Yeah.
behavior, change the thoughts, change the beliefs. And so I was excited to tap back into that and
And
started writing again.
you birthed
Yes.
the book.
Yes.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And that's turning your pain into your passion, your purpose, your power. And I love that. Oh my goodness. I'm excited that you're sharing this book with the world, and people will be able to access that in the below in the podcast below, in the chat thing, whatever you call it, to be able to access that. And I'm sure it's on Amazon. Yes.
I am selling it on Amazon, but I'm also selling it on my website. So I'm putting people to my website. It's honoryourheart.net. It's spelled honor the American way. I think it's spelled
Honor the
differently over
American way. I
there.
love that. Honor the heart. And that's beautiful. And we'll put all those links in below as well. So
Yeah, and I want to give you guys a discount too for listening. So if you put Sacred You in the discount code, then you'll get 15% off.
Beautiful. Yeah. We'll put that in the link as well. All right. So is there anything that I haven't asked you that's on your heart to share with our audience today?
Just to be yourself and to not be afraid to go to new places, because it's actually what makes life exciting. And you don't need to be perfect to stop smoking it by any means. You could take little baby steps. And part of being imperfect is like the joy of being alive, because if it was perfect, then we would be dead.
Exactly.
So, yeah, just take it easy on yourself, be kinder to yourself, and you can quit. And it might take practice, and it's okay if it's hard.
Yeah. And is that the message that comes across in your Honoring Your Heart, the book?
Yes.
About that message of hope and for the readers to really tap into that self-healing, those parts of ourselves that are blocking us from achieving whatever it is that we want to achieve, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. It's a guide for you to find out what's blocking you, what you need, and tap into that intuition so you can find how to do it in your unique way. It's not like a recipe. It's more of a guide, give you some ideas, give you some practices, and it's all for you to find out your needs.
That's amazing. I think that's going to help a lot of people, and let's get this out into the world to supporters, people who need any sort of addiction to overcome that. And I have one question from our Sacred You community that I'd love to ask, and that is, if you could tell your younger self one thing about your addiction and healing, what would that be?
Kind of just did it. Just be you.
It's
safe.
You.
It's okay.
It's
safe to be, to be who you really are. And that's how you can make the world a better place too. I think I struggled so much with depression about the state of the world and not being able to make the changes I wanted to, and realized that by making the changes within me, that ripples out into the world.
Oh, goosebumps. I love that. It's so true, isn't it? Changing yourself to change the world, one baby step at a time. Yeah, we think we have to be there tomorrow. It's that fast food mentality.
Yeah.
And I love this conversation, and thank you so much, Jessi, for sharing your beautiful gifts with the world, and congratulations on what you've overcome and now being able to help others with. And we're really gracious that you're part of our community as well. So thank you for joining this conversation, and have a beautiful day, everyone. The links for Jessi's book and any way you want to connect with her will be in the links below. So please check those links out. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What an incredibly rich and heartfelt conversation with Jessi, whose journey is such an inspiration. A reminder that transformation is always possible when we choose to listen to our hearts, honor our emotions, and take that courageous step towards self-love and healing. If Jessi's story resonated with you today, know that change is within your reach too. Connect with Jessi by reaching out on the links below. And for more empowering conversations, tools, and strategies, do follow Sacred You on all the social media, or visit our website at www.sacredyou, that's the letter U.love. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button or give us a like so that you never miss another episode. It's time to take that step and embody who you really are. Thank you so much for tuning into our podcast today. Stay grounded, stay inspired, stay connected, And until next time, keep walking your pathway to well-being.